lesson comes from the Gospel of St. Luke, the 23rd chapter, beginning with the 26th verse. And as they led him away, they seized one Simon of Cyrene, who was coming in from the country, and laid on him the cross to carry it behind Jesus. And there followed him a great multitude of the people and of women who were mourning and lamenting for him. But turning to them, Jesus said, "Daughters of Jerusalem, do not weep for me, but weep for yourselves and for your children. For behold, the days are coming when they will say, Blessed are the barren, and the wombs that never bore, and the breasts that never nursed. Then they will begin to say to the mountains, Fall on us, and to the hills, cover us. For if they do these things when the wood is green, what will happen when it is dry?" 2 others who were criminals were led away to be put to death with him. And when they came to the place that is called the Skull, there they crucified him and the criminals, one on his right and one on his left. And Jesus said, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." And they cast lots to divide his garments, and the people stood by watching. But the rulers scoffed at him, saying, "He saved others, let him save himself, if he is the Christ of God, his chosen one." The soldiers also mocked him, coming up and offering him sour wine, and saying, "If you are the king of the Jews, save yourself." There is also an inscription over him, "This is the King of the Jews." And one of the criminals who were hanged railed against him, saying, "Are you not the Christ? Save yourself and us." But the other rebuked him, saying, "Do you not fear God, since you are under the same sentence of condemnation? And we indeed justly, for we are receiving the due rewards of our deeds. But this man has done nothing wrong." And he said to Jesus, "Remember me when you come into your kingdom." And he said to him, "Truly I say to you, today you will be with me in paradise." We will join in the response that's printed in your bulletins. Is it nothing to you all? Is it nothing to you, all you who pass by? Look and see if there is any sorrow like my sorrow. Look, O Lord, and see how ruthless I have become. Look and see if there is any sorrow like my sorrow. Luke tells us that there was not a pretty picture on that place called Golgotha, the skull, that Good Friday. In our world today, we're concerned about death with dignity, aren't we? We know that because of our science and our technologies, they can prolong life long after we might want to give up life. We can be fed with tubes and kept alive on machines, and then with no hope of recovery, we just lay and waste away. Not a very dignified death. But the crucifixion was designed to destroy all dignity. Did you see how it proceeded? Jesus was led, first of all, through the streets of the city, carrying his own cross, carrying his own instrument of death, if you will. I've read that in China, when they execute someone, the family has to buy the bullet that they put into the offender. So there is no dignity there, carrying your own cross, buying your own bullet. Certainly nothing dignified about that. And they took him to this place called the Skull. And there they nailed him onto the woods of the cross. We kind of sanitize it, kind of make it a little bit neater than it was, but it was not anything acceptable or decent about a crucifixion. And it wasn't away from the viewing. I mean, nowadays when a person is put in the gas chamber, they close curtains so they can't see the final moments of the person's agony, or the electric chair, unless there are a few witnesses. But here he hung amongst the people who had accused him, the people who had crucified him, the people who were responsible for his death. And it wasn't like they were keeping quiet about it, was it? Luke tells us that the Roman soldiers were there scoffing, mocking him. "You're the king of the Jews," they said, "save yourself." And of course that would be their response, right? Because they followed Caesar. And there was no king but Caesar. And so here would come this man, this Jew, this peasant, claiming to be a king, claiming even to be greater than Caesar. So let's see how great and good you are, Jesus. If you say you're the king of the Jews, save yourself. Call your armies. Call your followers to come and deliver you. Come and rescue you. Come to take you down from that cross. See, there is no power in this world except that which is wielded by Rome. There is no king but Caesar. There's also the scoffers that we're told they were the scribes and the Pharisees, the priests. And they say, if you are the Christ, the chosen one of God, then let's see you save yourself. You said you did everything in His name and everything by His power. Let's see you now come down from that cross by the power of God. You who claim to be equal with God, you who claim to be the Son of God, let's see you come down from that cross. If you come down, guess what? Then we'll believe. You come down and we'll accept you and herald you as the fulfillment of all the Old Testament prophecies. They mocked Him and berated Him. They never would have believed in Him. But there was another party heaping scorn upon Jesus. Did you catch that? Even as He is being crucified, a thief nailed to the cross next to Him rails against Him. If you are the Christ, save yourself and us. Perhaps he had heard about the ministry of Jesus over the past 3 years, how Jesus had healed the sick, how He had cured the lame and the lepers, how He had given sight to the blind, maybe even how He had raised the dead to life again. But now, Jesus, if you are that Christ, work a miracle for me. Do something for me. Give me the deliverance I need. You heal the sick, you raise the dead. Do something miraculous right now for me. Now, I can kind of understand the Jews and the Romans railing against Jesus. But I'm wondering about that thief on the cross. Even his compatriot there on the other side of Jesus says, we're getting the just deserts of our rewards. We're getting what we deserve. We are rightfully under condemnation for the crimes that we have committed. But this man has done nothing wrong. So why would that other thief lash out against Jesus like that? I think it's to the point that he had given up on life. You realize that there was no hope for him other than Deus ex machina, God appearing suddenly, spontaneously on the scene to take him down from that cross. Really, when you think about it, isn't that when death sets in? When we give up hope? When we stop hoping for something better? When we stop hoping for deliverance? When we stop hoping for a cure? When we stop hoping for God to intervene? When we quit hoping, that's when death begins. So very often, unfortunately, we read of tragic events of young people and old people who commit suicide. They've had a tough patch in life, rough spell, if you will, but they don't see any hope. And so death sets in. And if not from the outside, then certainly at their own hands. That thief on the cross, he'd given up hope. The Romans, they still had hope. Hope in Caesar, hope in the power of Rome. The Jews, they still had hope that they were following the laws of God and had their temple ready to be worshipped. But Jesus had warned all that the days now are green. When it comes dry, then there will be no hope. You see, if death is when hopelessness sets in, and we have to see that hope, that life comes from hope. Jesus said, I have come that you might have life and have it abundantly. Now, we often interpret that as, we have a joyful, purposeful life in this world, but also we have the assurance of life to come. We know that we will rise to live with Christ in heaven above. We will live forever and ever, so we have abundant life. I'm wondering, too, if we ever stop to think that when Jesus promises us that abundant life, He's given us abundant hope. We know that no matter what the doctor's report might be, no matter what the family situation is, how our financial set might be affecting us, how we aren't sure of what's going to happen tomorrow or the day after that, we still have hope. And therefore we go forth in life. We go forth to live as God calls us. We go forth to live as people. We go forth to live as brothers and sisters in faith. We go forth to live in Jesus Christ. Christ has given us hope. Christ has given us life. Christ has given us a promise. Christ has given us peace. Christ has given us all we need in his death and his resurrection. To him be glory, honor, and praise now and forever. Amen. Let us rise and join in the prayer.